Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 8 Part 15 based on novel. So let's start. In the sky, countless pairs of eyes congealed on Lin Dong's body while a shady expression appeared on Luo Yi's face. Obviously, the latter had developed a rich killing intent towards him after his previous action. From his point of view, since he was at 8 Yuan Nirvana stage, killing Lin Dong was going to be as simple as flipping his palm. If you want to steal, use your own hands. Don't waste your time doing these stupid things and stop being so wishy-washy. However, while the crowd stared at him, the chilliness on Lin Dong's face grew increasingly richer. He proceeded to stare at Luo Yi and chuckled. The moment Lin Dong's words sounded out, an uproar immediately erupted in the entire sky. Quite a few people stared at Lin Dong with a strange expression on their faces. They truly could not imagine how a brat merely at 5 Yuan Nirvana stage would actually dare to utter such words to Luo Yi, who was at 8 Yuan Nirvana stage. Did he really think that the latter would be intimidated just because he was a disciple of Dao sect? The disciples of Dao sect are truly getting more and more egotistical. Does that brat know who Luo Yi is? Does he really believe that his reputation of butcher is unwarranted? Since he provoked Luo Yi, this matter would not be settled so easily. Truly an arrogant and foolish brat. One whisper after another containing ridicule and sneer started to spread across the sky while quite a few people started to point at Lin Dong. Their expressions looked as if they enjoyed taking joy in other people's misfortune. Behind Lin Dong, Ying Huan and the rest looked at each other in dismay after hearing Lin Dong's words. However, they knew a little about Lin Dong's character and understood that the latter was not a hot-headed individual. Since he dared to utter those words, it was likely that he had confidence in himself. However, that fellow is a vicious individual that is ranked 6th on the sect's wanted list. Ha ha. Amidst the uproar that filled the skies, the shady grin already present on Luo Yi's face became even more quiet, gloomy and cold. His eyes stared maliciously at Lin Dong. However, he did not fly into a rage as he chuckled instead. Nonetheless, his laughter truly caused one's hair to stand. Nowadays, it seems like the number of stupid blockheads who do not fear death have increased. Luo Yi smirked as he shot a smile at Lin Dong from the corner of his mouth and revealed a set of sparkling white teeth. However, from within his pupils, shot forth an exceptionally ruthless luster instead. This friend, if you are still able to say those words later, I will truly admire your courage. A faint voice filled with gentle laughter rang out from Luo Yi's mouth. A gloomy and cold murderous aura that made one's skin crawl started to quietly pervade and spread in the air. However, the moment Luo Yi spoke, a malevolent expression suddenly appeared on his face. Taking a step forward, his figure suddenly disappeared. Lin Dong, be careful. The moment Luo Yi's figure disappeared, Ying Huan, Jian Kun and the rest realized it as well. There was a faint change in their facial expressions as they quickly warned him. Hovering in mid-air, Lin Dong had already spread out his mental energy. Immediately, his pupils hardened, before he took a left step. A palm filled with scarlet blood chi carrying the sharpest palm blade flashed past Lin Dong's shoulder with a lightning-like speed. As the palm wind flashed past, it sliced off a strand of Lin Dong's hair. Snort! After his attack failed, Luo Yi's body appeared in a flash. With a cold laugh, his arm turned into a weapon, while his palm turned into a blade. Facing Lin Dong, he sent a slash towards his throat. While Luo Yi slashed towards Lin Dong's throat, Lin Dong's palm also exploded forth. Green-colored scales rapidly covered his palm, before he viciously grabbed Luo Yi's palm. A sharp and powerful force crazily rushed towards Lin Dong's palm in an attempt to corrode it. However, when it came into contact with that layer of green-colored scales, it exploded instead and created dazzling sparks. Lin Dong's face had also turned icy cold. Promptly, with a thought, vigorous amounts of desolate energy directly flowed through his arm and erupted out of his palm. Following which, they flew rapidly towards Luo Yi's palm and started to corrode it. Under the corrosion from the desolate energy, Luo Yi's bloody palm actually showed some signs of withering. Desolate force? Snort, with such little ability, you actually dare to counterattack. Luo Yi's vision congealed for a while before he gave a cold laugh. With a thought, boundless amount of violent yuan power howled and erupted from his body. Following that, the blood chi on his palm welled up crazily and actually directly scattered the desolate energy. With a grasp of his palm, the blood chi immediately congealed into a serrated great blade. Grasping the blade, he chopped down viciously at Lin Dong's head with a lightning speed. Luo Yi's move was extremely ruthless. Together with his blood chi, it made his attack extremely powerful and imposing. It was obvious that he was experienced in combat. Lin Dong's gaze was frosty and cold. He knew that he was naturally unable to compete with Luo Yi, who was at 8th Yuan Nirvana stage, in terms of Yuan power. Nonetheless, he had no intention of going all out. Flicking his 10 fingers, green light rushed out and transformed into green-colored scales which clashed against that serrated great blade. Sparks crazily shot out and scattered around. The power of the serrated great blade was extremely forceful and it actually directly split apart Lin Dong's green-colored scales. However, with this slight obstruction, Lin Dong was able to drift away and leave the attack radius of the serrated great blade. A ridiculing voice floated over. "How, brat? Where did your arrogance go now?" After his attack failed, the coldness and ruthlessness on Luo Yi's face turned even more thick and dense. Lin Dong shot a glance at him as the coldness within his eyes suddenly grew stronger and more rigorous. Currently, although the surrounding people were being very subtle, they were all lusting after the ancient immortal Yuan tree seed. However, the presence of Dao sect made them indecisive. If he was defeated by Luo Yi now, perhaps the hesitation within their hearts might subside. Furthermore, there will also be a few who would let the greed within their hearts overwhelm their rationality. That was the scenario that Lin Dong truly did not want to see. For the past few years, he had experienced quite a few harrowing events. Therefore, he was naturally aware that the opponents in front of him were all ruthless people with blood on their hands. So long as he revealed the slightest fear, they would likely become even more cruel and vicious and they will likely rush forth and devour them till not a single bone is left. Therefore, any sign of weakness must not be revealed. Even if the fellow in front was ranked 6th on the sect's wanted list. If you want to steal something from me, you will have to leave something behind. Abruptly halting his retreat, an ominous glint appeared within Lin Dong's eyes. He took a deep breath before his hands rapidly weaved seal after seal with lightning speed. Following the fluctuations of the seals, the grey line on his forehead started to pulsate once again before splitting open. The demonic eye brimming with fiendishness slowly appeared once again. After his desolate demon eye opened up, a grey light beam shot explosively towards Luo Yi. As the grey light beam shot over, Luo Yi's malevolent face turned sluggish for a while before a rich shock filled his eyes. It was obvious that he felt a grave threat from the light beam. Good brat, he has some metal after all. Luo Yi gave a cold laugh before raising his serrated great blade. At this moment, a low roar was transmitted out of his throat, before boundless yuan power bubbled up and a blade chopped down with fury. A 10-feet blood chi blade glow that reeked of blood erupted from Luo Yi's great blade, before he viciously hacked the incoming grey light beam. At the moment of impact, wild and violent energy waves erupted outwards crazily. This caused astonishment to appear in the eyes of quite a few people. It was obvious that they had never imagined that Lin Dong, who was at 5 Yuan Nirvana stage, could actually unleash such a formidable attack. Did he block it? Lin Dong looked at Luo Yi and narrowed his eyes. This was the first time that his desolate demon eye attack was blocked. Seems like the gap between Luo Yi and him was quite a large one. This brat, such a strange attack. While Lin Dong was still reeling over the shock, turmoil also appeared within Luo Yi's heart. Although he managed to destroy the strange grey light beam, at the moment his palms were secretly numb. There is something strange about this brat. I must finish him off quickly. Luo Yi took a look at the demonic eye on Lin Dong's forehead and secretly felt uneasy. Instantly, his vision turned cold before his body suddenly exploded forward. The savage yuan power of an 8 yuan Nirvana stage expert fully erupted forth. It was obvious that he wanted to kill Lin Dong as quickly as possible. Lin Dong, hurry and dodge it. When Jiang Kuan and the rest saw Luo Yi's move, their facial expression changed before they frantically tried to warn Lin Dong. Although Lin Dong's desolate demon eye was indeed very powerful, the gap between him and Luo Yi was too great. If they were to really fight, Lin Dong would most likely suffer. However, when Lin Dong heard their warning, he gently shook his head instead. At this juncture, if he were to show any weakness, perhaps it might overwhelm the rationality of those who were still struggling with the greed in their hearts. I want to see how strong an 8 yuan Nirvana stage expert is. With a frosty glint in his eyes, Lin Dong's hand seals suddenly changed. Promptly, a strange blood trail actually seeped out from the demonic eye on his forehead while grey chi started to bubble out. Faintly, a frightening primordial roar traveled through time and descended on this land. Desolate demon eye, spirit of the desolate beast. An overwhelming amount of grey chi erupted endlessly from the demonic eye on Lin Dong's forehead. Immediately, the earth-shattering grey chi congealed into something similar to clouds and blocked the sun, causing the entire sky to turn gloomy. As the grey chi covered the entire sky, an ancient air filled with bleakness erupted and scattered out. Faintly, a roaring cry sounded out once again. Right now, countless experts from all directions were rushing over to this area. After arriving, when they saw several individuals standing around different mountain peaks, they did not dare to stir trouble. Instead, they could only stare in astonishment at the mysterious scene that was unfurling in the sky. The bloodline on Lin Dong continued to extend while icy chi continuous radiated outwards. It headed towards his eyes in an attempt to corrode them. However, each time it came into contact with his eyes, it would be blocked by a gentle white glow. Although the desolate demon eye was extremely powerful, the price one had to pay to acquire such strength was not trivial. If Lin Dong did not have the protection of the mysterious stone talisman, perhaps even he would not dare to unleash the desolate demon eye till such an extent. Although it was possible for him to use mental energy to sense his surroundings should he turn blind, he did not want to end up becoming like that blind old man. As those grey clouds were spreading in the sky, the blood glow within his demonic eye suddenly congealed. Turning into a blood light beam, it shot directly into the thick clouds. Boom! Following the explosive entrance of the blood light beam, the patch of grey clouds started to wriggle immediately. Gradually, they transformed into a gigantic vortex. A portal that was seemingly connected to the ancient times opened at the center of the vortex. Through the portal, a feeling of a desolate wasteland started to seep through. The moment the vortex gradually grew faint, a gigantic grey shadow seemingly flirted inside. Full of nonsense. However, I don't care how strange your methods are. You are merely at 5 yuan Nirvana stage. With a cloudy and gloomy face, Luo Yi stared at the thick grey clouds looming above Lin Dong, while a frostiness flickered within his eyes. Although he had played down Lin Dong's actions, he felt genuinely uneasy. In fact, the patch of grey clouds caused his heart to feel extremely repressed. I'll butcher this strange brat. Murderous intent flickered within Luo Yi's eyes. Without a shred of hesitation, he grasped the serrated great blade in his hand before boundless yuan power explosively erupted out. An oppressive pressure started to fill the air, causing the expressions of quite a few surrounding individuals to faintly change. 8 yuan Nirvana stage. It seems like Luo Yi truly deserved to be ranked 6th on the sect's wanted list. Brat, even if you are a disciple of Dao sect, I will take you life today. A ferocious expression surged on Luo Yi's face. In the next moment, he suddenly took a deep breath. His eyes congealed before an overwhelming amount of blood chi started to howl behind him. Faintly, they transformed into a 10 feet tall blood-red shadow. That blood-red shadow was holding a serrated blood blade and it was filled with blood chi. It seemed as if the entire land was submerged in a sea of blood. Blood Blade Ancestor, this is Luo Yi's signature killing move, Great Azura Blade. In this area, the expressions of the experts who were observing this fight changed due to Luo Yi's move. Surprised shrieks rang out one after the other. It was obvious that they knew about this fearsome attack. Luo Yi is actually forced to use this move just to kill a brat at 5 yuan Nirvana stage. That brat is really unlucky. Luo Yi previously used this move to completely destroy 5-7 yuan Nirvana stage experts. Whispering noises spread incessantly throughout the sky. Fluctuations appeared within the eyes of Ying Huan, Jian Kuan, and the rest. All of them stared at the Lindong, who was standing below the expansive grey clouds, while a worried expression fluttered within their eyes. Luo Yi's attack cannot be blocked directly, muttered Jian Kuan in a low voice. Hearing this, a few people nearby who had the same thought nodded their heads. Ying Huan's willowy eyebrows turned slightly limp as she proceeded to bite her lip. Extending her jade hand, an emerald zither appeared in a flash. Before leaving the sect for this mission, the elder had appointed her as their leader. If anything was to happen to Lindong, she truly did not know how to answer to Chen Zhen and Wu Dao. Great Azura Blade, Azura Slash. The blood chi that blotted the sky started to ripple. A ferocious expression appeared on Luo Yi's face as he suddenly took a step forward. With both hands gripping the blade, he slashed down in anger, akin to chopping down a mountain. Roar! The instant that great blade cleaved down, the blood-red shade behind started to wave the gigantic blood blade in its hand. With a blood glow that filled the sky, it brought forth a 300-meter-long wave as well as a heaven-shattering roar, as it chopped down towards Lindong. The surrounding Yuan power exploded. Before the gigantic blood blade glow had even reached the ground, a rapidly growing gigantic fissure had already started to appear on the ground. Lindong raised his head. The incoming gigantic blood blade glow that was growing rapidly in his eyes caused the hairs on his body to stand up. Promptly, his pupils started to harden rapidly. Instantly, his hand seals rapidly changed, causing the grey clouds above him to rapidly split apart. Finally, within the vortex, an incomparable huge shadow made its appearance. With the appearance of the gigantic creature, it instantly blotted out the skies. As its monstrous body covered the sky, it looked just like a primordial super-demonic beast. An aura of desolation and barrenness flooded the horizons. When that mysterious gigantic beast first appeared, it immediately caused countless people to suck in a deep breath. In fact, it even caused the Devil Seal Masses members to have a drastic change in their expressions. Is that the legendary Huang beast? Ying Huan and the rest stared in shock at the colossus creature. They had some understanding of the martial arts of Desolate Hall. However, this was still the first time they had ever seen such a frightening beast from the ancient times. The Huang beast crouched in the skies, while its gigantic eye was tightly shut. A destructive fluctuation gradually started to radiate out from it. Furthermore, under the scattering of this fluctuation, to everyone's bewilderment, they began to realize that its tightly shut eye was slowly opening up. Roar roar! As that gigantic eye slowly opened up, the surrounding Yuan power crazily exploded. In the next instant, the gigantic eye was finally fully opened up. Revealing its murky black pupil, it seemed like the most frightening object in the world. A black beam of light that seemingly absorbed all the light in the universe shot out explosively from the eye. The instant it shot out, the entire world seemed to have darkened. As that beam shot forward, it directly tore a hole through space. Under the shocked gazes of countless people, it collided violently with the incoming blood-red blade glow. At the moment of the impact, the heavens turned silent. Resplendent energy shockwaves erupted explosively like lustrous fireworks. However, within its beauty was a fluctuation akin to that of a passing death. As the frightening fluctuation surged forth, all the surrounding mountain peaks instantaneously crumbled into dust. A few people, who were standing near the epicenter, were so heavily impacted till they spurted a mouthful of blood. As their auras became dispirited, they frantically retreated with a terrified expression. Lindong was also retreating backwards explosively. Even he felt palpitations in his heart when he saw the frightening winds caused by the expanding fluctuation. Instantly, with a clench of his fist, the green fluctuation rapidly transformed into a green-scaled shield in front of him. The violent winds viciously slammed against his green-scaled shield, causing Lindong's organs to violently churn. He retreated explosively as his entire arm started to turn numb. If his arm wasn't strong and resilient, his entire arm would have shattered just from a single impact from the incoming fluctuation. The frightening storm winds filled the entire skies for a few minutes before gradually dying down. This entire stretch of the world had been reduced into complete disarray. The forest below had also been wrecked till it turned into a flat piece of land. As everyone gradually regained their clarity and looked at the devastation around them, all of them could not help but take a deep breath of cold air. They turned and stared once again at the youthful figure standing in the sky. However, this time around, there was no taunt or ridicule present within their eyes. A few gazes rested on Lin Dong for a while before shifting towards Luo Yi on the other side. Right now, the latter's hair was thrown into disorder and his outfit was ripped to shreds. His aura was in turmoil and a trace of shock remained on his face. It was obvious that the previous collision had left him gasping in astonishment. After all, he simply could not imagine how Lin Dong, who was only at 5 Yuan Nirvana stage, could actually put up such a valiant fight. Are all the Tao sect disciples so powerful? The atmosphere in the sky started to grow quiet. The greed flickering in a few people's eyes had also unexpectedly decreased. Is there anyone else who wants to make a move? While everyone was silent, Lin Dong took the opportunity to send his frosty and chilly gaze sweeping across everyone akin to a wolf in a prairie. Suppressing the turbulent chi within his body, he refused to reveal a trace of weakness on his face. At the same time, his gloomy voice filled with malevolence resounded across the land. As Lin Dong's voice scattered across the sky, there was a strange moment of silence instead. Although everyone here was a ruthless individual under Lin Dong's bone-chilling gaze, even they felt a little fearful. Right now, Luo Yi's facial expression was extremely gloomy. However, this time around, he did dare to speak up. It was obvious that he was still scarred by the vicious attack unleashed by Lin Dong previously. Lin Dong's gaze swept ruthlessly across the sky before he gradually retreated. However, just as he was about to turn around and retreat, a cackling laughing finally rang out. Ha ha, when did the Tao sect produce such an outstanding disciple? Although your fiendish look can easily scare others, it will not work on me, Yao Ling. Lin Dong suddenly stopped and slowly raised his head. Looking up, he saw a black figure quietly appearing on the peak of a mountain not far away. When Lin Dong saw him, his pupils started to contract. Yao Ling, the chief of the Devil Seal Mass, 4th on the sect's wanted list. In the end, he still showed up. At the moment, Lin Dong's heart slowly sunk. The black-cloaked figure on the mountaintop slowly appeared in front of the crowd. His black robe covered his face while an icy cold ripple faintly spread stealthily. Yao Ling? Some members of the crowd were stunned and exclaimed in shock when this person appeared. This name possessed quite a strong reputation in Blood Rock grounds. Since he was the 4th on the sect's wanted list, this was enough to cause many fearsome individuals to feel wary of him. Luo Yi and Xiao Qian's expressions also changed at this moment. Their eyes were filled with cautiousness when they looked at this black-cloaked figure. Although they were only ranked a little lower than Yao Ling, they understood that in a real fight, the both of them together would likely be no match against Yao Ling. Ha, even this fellow has appeared. It seems like the Devil Seal Mass really wants the immortal Yuan ancient seed at any cost. Luo Yi's eyes were dark and cold as he laughed softly. He glanced at the distant Lin Dong with vicious eyes. In his heart, he was secretly gloating because of the latter's predicament. However, he also felt somewhat unhappy. After all, he still felt a little displeased to see the immortal Yuan ancient seed fall into the hands of Yao Ling's group in front of his eyes. Chief. Su Lei's group had faces filled with joy because of Yao Ling's appearance. They swiftly rushed over. Following which, they looked at Lin Dong's group in a sadistic manner. Yao Ling, Ying Huan, Yuan Fang, Jian Kun, and the others' expressions gradually turned ugly when Yao Ling appeared. Although they knew that Yao Ling would definitely appear, their hearts still involuntarily sunk a little when they saw him in flesh. They were clearly well informed about this fellow, who was ranked 4th on the sect's wanted list. 9 Yuan Nirvana stage was sufficient to oppress everyone here. Yao Ling was once a deacon of the Yuan Gate and his status surpassed disciples like them. With his strength, one could count the number of disciples in Tao sect who could fight evenly with him on one hand. Moreover, this fellow was not alone. His subordinates were also a group of extremely fearsome people with notorious reputations. The leader of Devil Seal Mass Lin Dong's eyes also stared intently at the figure that was completely wrapped in a black robe. His eyes were incomparably grave. From the latter's body, he could sense a rich feeling of danger. Lin Dong might not be afraid of Luo Yi. However, at this moment, even he felt some uneasiness bubbling within his heart. After all, given his current strength, there was simply too large of a gap when compared with 9 Yuan Nirvana stage. You are called Lin Dong, right? The champion of the 100 Empire War. Ha ha, how unexpected. The champion of the 100 Empire War this time around actually chose to join Dao sect. Standing on top of the mountain, Yao Ling gently raised his head before he revealed his pale and shady face. A pair of indifferent eyes were locked onto Lin Dong from under the black robes as he laughed faintly. Lin Dong focused his eyes. Clearly, he did not expect that Yao Ling would actually be able to recognize him immediately. Yao Ling, this immortal Yuan ancient seed is discovered by our Dao sect first. We have already transmitted the news back. Soon, experts from our Dao sect will arrive. This is not something that you can touch. Yuan Fang cried out in a deep voice. Ha ha, it doesn't matter. All I need to do is finish all of you off before the experts from Dao sect arrive. Yao Ling smiled slightly and spoke in a casual manner. You should also stop using the Dao sect to intimidate me. Others might be afraid of your Dao sect, but I, Yao Ling, don't give a damn. Yuan Fang became furious. However, she immediately suppressed her fury forcefully and laughed coldly. You can gloat now. However, you will definitely regret it in the future. Lin Dong knitted his brows tightly. Earlier, he had taken much pains to use the desolate demon eye to force Luo Yi back and intimidate the rest. However, it was all for naught now that Yao Ling appeared. Lin Dong, await my orders and prepare to retreat. Ying Huan's soft voice suddenly resounded beside Lin Dong's ear while this thought lingered his heart. Lin Dong's eyes shrunk upon hearing this before he nodded quietly. Currently, it was unwise for them to stay on any further. Once Yao Ling appeared, they lost any advantage they previously had. Hence, they could only choose to retreat. However, would Yao Ling allow them to withdraw peacefully? Lin Dong's eyes flashed while he sighed quietly in his heart. Yao Ling extended his hand while he stood on the distant mountaintop. He slowly pulled off the black robe that covered his face. After which, he revealed his pale white middle-aged face. His eyes were deep and his gaze was so sharp that they appeared like blades, cutting painfully into one's skin. Friends, this immortal Yuan ancient seed is something that my Yuan gate desires. Therefore, I hope that everyone can stand by idly today. My Yuan gate will definitely reward everyone in the future. Yao Ling's eyes swept over this entire place first. After which, he cupped his hands together towards these people and laughed faintly. Yao Ling had directly mentioned Yuan Gate when he spoke. As the strongest sect in Eastern Xian region, the weight of his words was extraordinary. Hence, the expressions of quite a number of people changed when his voice sounded out. However, no one dared to object. This was because both the strength of Yao Ling and the might of Yuan Gate were things that they could not afford to offend. A smile was revealed on Yao Ling's face when he saw this silent atmosphere. Immediately he turned his head and stared at Lin Dong's group. He extended his hand and said with a smile, "Hand that thing over. All of you should be aware of my character. I have never shown mercy in the past and I will not start doing it now. If it is really necessary, I do not mind turning this place into a bloody river." Ying Huan and the rest's eyes shrunk slightly when they heard this while their expressions were in flux. Promptly, they took 2 steps forward, while a desperate expression appeared to flash across their faces. However, just as Yao Ling thought that they were about to give in, chillness suddenly surged within Ying Huan's eyes. Her icy cold cry resounded over the place, "Run!" Boom! The moment her voice sounded, Ying Huan's hand suddenly landed on her emerald-like zither. After which, her zither strings vibrated swiftly. A bright green sonic wave swept out like a great ocean wave. This sonic wave did not appear to possess a strong offensive strength. However, it caused anyone who heard it to be momentarily stunned. It was this short instant that the Dao sect's disciples below scattered apart at the same time. After which, they became just like a locust as they rushed off in all directions. This event took place so suddenly. No one expected 100 Tao sect's disciples would scatter so decisively. By the time some people recovered their senses, most Tao sect's disciples had already rushed into the forest and swiftly disappeared. Their speed involuntarily caused some people to be stunned. Go! Hovering in midair, Ying Huan, Jian Kuan, and the other core disciples also took off at the same time. However, they did not scatter. This was because they clearly understood that while ordinary disciples would be able to retreat easily, they would definitely be targeted by Yao Ling's group. Today, I want to see where all of you can flee to. Yao Ling had also completely recovered at this moment. His eyes were dark and cold as he glared at Ying Huan, Lin Dong, and the rest who had rushed off. A ferocious smile immediately appeared on his face. Follow them. The immortal Yuan ancient seed is with them. Yao Ling waved his hand and laughed coldly. Yes. Su Lei and the rest also replied with a savage smile when they heard Yao Ling's cold laughter. After which, their bodies rushed out. They directly carried a rushing wind sound before they chased after Lin Dong's group. Yao Ling's body also disappeared at this moment. His body turned into a bright light that rushed outwards. After the people from the Devil Seal mass gave chase, the surrounding observers also swiftly moved. Although the immortal Yuan ancient seed was currently being targeted by Yao Ling, they were unwilling to give up so easily. Under the whistling of the large-scale number of people that covered the sky, the sound of rushing wind appeared one after another. All the natural Yuan power appeared to boil at this moment. A couple of humans rushed over the sky of the mountain range, while they were accompanied by a hurried rushing wind sound. Their eyes would occasionally sweep over the area behind them. All of them had grave expressions on their faces. We will not be able to shake them off if this continues, Yuan Fang clenched her teeth and said. Lin Dong also nodded slightly. He could sense that Yao Ling's aura was getting increasingly close to them. Jian Kuan and the rest was silent, while the expression in their eyes were a little gloomy. Being chased truly felt unpleasant. Ying Huan hugged her emerald-like zither. Her eyes were lowered and a glow flashed over it. Promptly, her body suddenly paused. She clenched her silver teeth and said, I will stop them. All of you should go. Jian Kuan, Yuan Fang, and the rest's expressions changed when they heard this. They were just about to object when Ying Huan glared at them. Promptly, her tone became much calmer. Do any one of you possesses the ability to stop Yao Ling's group? Jian Kuan and the rest were at a loss for words. The gap between them and Yao Ling was too large. Even if they risked their lives to stop him, it was likely difficult for them to accomplish much. If you think that there is still time to continue chatting, you can continue to do so. Ying Huan turned around and sat down on a stone. Her emerald zither was placed in front of her. After which, she extended her hand and gently swept past those dark black horsetail strings. Immediately, green threads poured down. They became like a waterfall as they slowly danced in the wind. Jian Kuan and the others involuntarily clenched their fists when they saw the alluring young lady figure. Let's go. Lin Dong's eyes stared deeply at the figure. However, contrary to expectations, he did not speak up at all. Instead, he turned around and left. Jian Kuan and the rest's expressions changed for a moment before they finally clenched their teeth, turned around and left. Lin Dong, bring the seed back. Ying Huan's hands gently pressed her zither when she sensed the group leaving swiftly. A red glow gradually surged within her clear eyes, while a soft cry was also quietly being emitted. This video will end here.